So, hello everybody and welcome to Print Island. I'm Jacques Michiels and today we're joined by Ludovic Martin. He is the French blogger and consultant specializing in web-to-print technologies and the online print industry.
Hello.
He's a well-respected strategist, an analyst, and one of the sharpest minds in the web-to-print transformation. And he's also the author of Print.watch, a newsletter and a blog. So, Ludovic, welcome to the show.
Happy to meet everyone here and to chat with you, Jack, about the transition and the transformation of this industry and online printing. Really happy to be part of it.
Well, that's great. Well, for our viewers, I can assure you, Ludovic is one of the people that is really on point and follows everything, especially in the European markets, but also in the global markets regarding web to print and everything what is going on. So maybe Ludovic, let's begin with an elevator pulse check. Where is the online print industry today? And where are we heading?
So today, I think that the situation is quite complex for many players in the European online printing industry, mostly because there is this side effect after the COVID pandemic where there were a boom of e-commerce and print on demand and a lot of demand around printing. And the situation changed a little bit with a drop in the request for commodities, a shift of marketing budget to digital, unfortunately, and that's a major trend today. And also the consequence of European regulation regarding advertising and WePub initiatives in France, for example, that prevented a lot of retail companies to make prospectus flyers and so on. And that had direct impact on the online printing market, like printing industry in general. And also I would add one point. I think that there is also an effect of copycat everywhere. Many platforms today has the same product catalog, the same service, the same level of standards. And at a certain point, there is no clear differentiator. And so the only differentiator is price. And that's a danger when it's the only unique selling point. So the market is,
Yeah, well, that's, as you say, then it's a race to the bottom, basically. If it's only on price to have your competitive advantage. But it was interesting. You were just touching upon the fact that, like in France and for our global viewers, it's interesting to know that in Europe, a lot of recent or less recent new legislation has been voted. Also, like you told us in France, some legislation and some rules that are against like direct mail and stuff. You can a bit look at like the tariffs that are coming on, but we'll have it about the tariffs and the exports a bit later on in the show. But just for that people understand that the playing field has changed. Let's go a bit into the market trends with some regional shifts. You've been talking in your blogs lately because you always give an oversight of how that print market is doing and the web to print market is doing. And you mentioned like a minus 10% drop in web to print audiences. What do you think is the root cause?
So
this?
it's a drop in audience, so it's not always the reality in terms of sales, but I noticed that it's related. Globally, we see that there is a global drop in Europe, especially in Germany, for example, where the market was more challenged than before. Also, some countries that are contrasting with the economic reality, like Spain, which is growing a lot in terms of tourism, energy. It's one of the highest growth markets in Europe, but not in online printing. But that's, I think, hiding different situations depending on the market segment online printers are serving. Generic platforms that are addressing all market segments, all product categories, from my perspective, suffering the most, while companies that are focusing on vertical markets like packaging, like PPAG or adhesive labels are having growth and are having success in different countries. And also The feedback I had from this study from the field is that market leaders, big global companies that are often multinational, are suffering the most, while smaller companies that are between 10 to 20 million euros annual revenue, often owning their own production workflows, are quite succeeding. So I think that maybe there is a transition in customer behaviors that are maybe looking for people with internal production capacities.
So, Ludovic, I was also thinking about, because you were saying before you had those big groups, maybe German groups and others that before basically were into commodity printing with standardized catalogs. And that was said to be maybe a couple of years ago to be the way to go. And now we're talking about that some smaller players are taking away some of their customers and their markets. How do you see this coming about in Germany and France?
I think, yes, that's one of the reasons of this transition is that maybe big players today have very similar offer in terms of product and services, and maybe have lost a bit of their personality and differentiators. And also, I think it's difficult for them at a certain point of revenue and global presence to maintain the same level of customer care service everywhere in every country. That's something that sometimes is missing, while it's easier for smaller and local players to create a strong identity, often through communities or social medias with a strong branding, a strong visibility and presence, and also a close relationship with our customers, the customer care side. So probably that's one of the reasons we can see this change in terms of growth trends in these countries.
Well, you touched a little bit upon it just earlier. I always try to avoid to come back into that subject of the COVID thing, but how has COVID changed the buyer behavior long term? Because you saw quite a bit of change, and now, I mean, commodity printing versus customization. Everybody's talking about customization. The customer has evolved, like you said, and they're looking for more customized products. And is that one of the factors that is playing now against those big groups who have invested heavily in, let's say, those standardizations?
I think that's one of the things that changed the most during pandemic is that it accelerated remote work, it accelerated the digitization like never before. And many of the big online printing platforms used to have, template-based customization tool, online designer tools. And then many companies turned to Canva or to Adobe Express. And this company provided a very different service with higher standards and also a different path to print orders. Starting from, I'm creating my campaign, my marketing campaign for digital, for Facebook or for Instagram campaigns. And then I'm declining it to print. And then I'm looking to order a print output. And that's completely different from the former path that was to search for a print platform. And when you were in this print platform, you were customizing templates. And I think that big platforms today that are addressing B2C or even SME markets are suffering from the competition of Canva, Adobe Express or others, because it's really changing the way many companies are purchasing print and are designing their campaigns.
Well, I think we are touching upon some of the interesting topics that I really wanted to talk to you about. And of course, the word AI, it's a big word, artificial intelligence and personalization, because there is a lot of research and development and implementation going on different levels nowadays. But let's start maybe with this. You touched upon it, saying like Canva and others, and the AI-powered design. It's a phenomenon of zero-click shopping, actually. So what does that mean for us that are buying print and for them producing print? That zero-click shopping is a threat, isn't it?
Yes, it's a threat for any segment in e-commerce. Maybe a little less when you are on B2B segment, but it's just a question of time. This phenomenon is that Maybe you start to see it in some European countries. For example, in Google, when you type a query in the search engine, the first results that is displayed is advices from Google Gemini or maybe Copilot in Bing that is saying, okay, I understand your query and that's my answer. And often it's good enough for many, many people that just limit their search to this result. And if it's a shopping related query, often only 2 or 3 companies or links are displayed. And it's also the case within ChatGPT. If you say, I'm looking for a shirt for, I don't know, I'm going to a marriage. I don't know, that's my size and I'm looking for something easy to wear in summer. It will give you 2 or 3 advices with a direct link to these companies. And the next step is even you will not go directly to the shops. It will be internal shopping within ChatGPT or Perplexity, and you will pay with your ChatGPT or Perplexity account or PayPal account. So the risk is that there will be less visits to your site, and there is also risk in terms of visibility. For the print industry and advertising industry, I think it's a real opportunity because we have seen during the 10 or 15 past years that budgets shifting to digital, to Google ads, to Facebook ads massively. And today, this change and this zero-click threat, I think will highlight the need for building a brand through storytelling, through other channels. I really believe in direct marketing power. And that's a way, I think, to highlight that there is a different way to build a brand and to attract visitors rather than just pay for that on search engines.
Yeah. Because also talking to a lot of people in the industry like you and us as well, I mean, there's a lot of, that's how I understand it. There's a lot of confusion also in people's heads and in company owners' heads, what to do, what to do, because everything is coming very quickly and everybody hears from some others, oh yeah, we're already into the AI, we're not ready yet. In my mind, I basically think there are 2 different sides to AI. Correct me if I'm wrong. On the first level, you see AI that can be a tool in production environments, right? To help streamline, automate, and so forth. That's what I think it's one side of AI. The second side of AI, like you just explained, is actually when you're within platforms, CRM agents, other types of AI that are being implemented in softwares and in platforms in order, like you said, to address the customer and keep the customer in that platform without even going out to another website. Like the Google searches, like you said, you don't come up as often anymore because if you're in ChatGPT and the agents are actually directing you elsewhere, you don't go out of that ecosystem anymore. And when the order is placed, I mean, the money has been spent. So that is a huge, let's say, opportunity, but a threat as well, like you said. So maybe let's address, I think that's the big elephant in the room here for printing companies. Should printing businesses still stick with traditional web platforms, or do we all have to go all in on the AI agents and the automation?
I think that, yes, it's hard to have a clear answer today. And as you said, many people are struggling and trying. I think it's important to test, to think about the strategy of your own company regarding this transition and this transformation. And the solution is like the basis in marketing. Fish where the fishes are. So ask your customers, understand how they are changing in terms of behavior. Of course, it's different if you're addressing families that are purchasing photo albums rather than professional buyers that are purchasing catalogs or signage for franchises. It's completely different. So the answer will be with your customers and anticipate their needs and the way they change in terms of purchasing behavior. And the idea is to build a seamless customer journey and to not to go to AI like a trend or something that is new just for innovation, but always keep in mind that you need to give something new to your customers to help them gain time and money and to ease their ordering process. And that's where AI can create value and can change things. If it's just build a chatbot that will just give the same answers as a human operator, I don't think that there is a huge interest for that. But if this chatbot is able to make, I don't know, the tracking, give a lot of information, give a lot of insights in different languages, okay, there is now an interest for that. So I really advise companies to think about AI just in the way to strengthen their relationship with their customers and solve customers' problems.
Yeah. Could it be so easy? It is not easy, of course, but if you have to make like two groups from the early start, you have, of course, business to consumer and business to business. I mean, one is SEO more orientated and the others are, I guess, more API driven. So if you want to keep them within your own ecosystem, I would think it's maybe more B2B. And if you want the younger audiences, maybe more tech things, maybe that's maybe more API driven. How do you see that?
Yeah, it could. Yes. Today, for example, if we get back to the example of Canva or even Adobe Express, we see that they provide assistants or agents that you can plug into ChatGPT. So it's a way to say, okay, we don't wait for customers to come into our ecosystem. We go to the tools they are using. And that's a way to change things and to change your strategy to adapt to the new behaviors of your customers. And if you say today the teenagers or younger generation, they are all day long into ChatGPT, they prepare their travel, they prepare recipes into ChatGPT. So you need to be visible here and to provide tools they can add to their own ChatGPT. Of course, it's different if you are with professional purchaser that maybe will find you through an AI search engine, but after that will add specific needs, specific requirements, specific products that are not mainstream, and so that will require different interfaces.
Yeah, and a different approach also to the customer because they will have totally different needs from, let's say, that young guy or something who wants a mug with his name on rather than, like you said, like a print buyer who needs a lot more attention. So that B2C, B2B differentiator maybe is also a differentiator on how to build or extend your platform. All depends as you said, the audience, your customers that you're working for.
Yeah, exactly. And
Absolutely.
there are also initiatives that are interesting in this way to provide different tools to reach your customers. Recently in the US, I saw Postalytics. I think it's a direct marketing platform that is a kind of MailChimp of the direct marketing. And they use Postcard as a marketing tool. And so they build a small agent that is available on automation platforms like Zapier or N8N or Make. And they say, okay, if you have a CRM system and at a certain time you need to push an insight to churn customer or sleeping customers. Okay, instead of just sending an email, and today we know that open rates of emails are really poor. Okay, send a postcard. I've created an agent that will ease the integration within your automation platform or your AI platform. And then if you send us the job description, then we would take care of printing and sending this postcard to your customer. And that's a very smart way to rethink printing in AI and automation ecosystem. I find it really insightful.
And that's integrated, sorry to interrupt, that's integrated, Ludovic, into CRM system. So without going out of the CRM system where people in the office are working on, they can basically, with that agent, they're integrating that service?
It's not really directly integrated to your CRM system, but with automation system, you can say, okay, when I detect in my CRM a sleeping customer that has not ordered for more than 3 months, then I will plug into my workflow a small agent from Postalytics, for example, and I will push information and place an order. So it's a kind of Legos, Lego bricks you are plugging together. And today, most of AI systems are built through these kinds of workflows, like I say Make, N18 or Zapier. And it's a smart way to integrate within these ecosystems and to be part of this huge change in the development industry and software as a service systems.
Interesting. I mean, this already we're then talking also about strategic pivots, right? Because also all the printing business, they have to rethink strategically their daily business and also the logistic resilience of them. But maybe onto that topic in the real world, I'm thinking, excuse me, two examples that stand out for me, which are from last week. For example, also maybe not all people have heard about it, but like Tomorrowland, that big music festival, it's Belgian originated, by the way, but like the main stage last week, like burned to the ground, and they were even thinking of, oh, it won't go through. But then there was a rapid fulfillment done by Probo. I think it was one of the service providers. I mean, the turnaround times that are possible now with those new strategies, those new implementations. I'm also thinking about Simpress. I think they also changed strategically from a volume to a more value proposition or move within their strategic operations. How do you think, is that something that is something that becoming mainstream, that the printing businesses have to be, let's say, on point to be able to react like instantly? Or is that something that is still something out of the extraordinary, something that Probo has pulled off, for example?
No, I think it's a good example of what today digital printing technologies are making possible and things that printers can do. And that's a famous example, but I think that all printers save the lives of many, many of their customers. Even the smallest printers is saving the life of, I don't know, someone who is doing an exhibition or receiving customers and needing something extremely quickly. But the main change is probably regarding the changes in terms of commodities and the structure of orders. So what made the success of online printings during maybe 20 years was large volumes, gangings, and amounts of flyers, brochures, and so on. And that's never happening today. And there is a change and a shift to smaller quantities, but probably higher repeat rate. And the online printing industry needs to adapt to this. It doesn't necessarily mean faster turnaround. Here again, it depends on what your customer is expecting. So if you see, for example, the example of Amazon, I think that it's really insightful because today Amazon is telling you, okay, you are a Prime member. You can receive your parcel tomorrow. If it's really urgent, you can receive it tomorrow. But if you have multiple orders, we can group them and deliver, I don't know, next Tuesday. It will be your Prime day. And in terms of, I don't know, ecological impact, in terms of shipping footprint, it will be lower if you group your different orders within one delivery. But it depends on your needs. And I think that's a way maybe online printing needs to reinvent itself. It's just saying, okay, we can deliver very quickly, but if you're not having an urgent need, then we can provide you longer run deliveries with lower footprint, maybe lower costs. And then it's again a way to adapt to customer requirements.
Yeah, I mean, logistics, of course, is part of the workflow of any printing business, but I feel that in the last couple of years, it has taken on such a big importance also in the strategic war between those different PSPs. It seems like the production, the presses, the digital presses or others, and that basically that the war has shifted towards the logistic capabilities of someone to be able to fulfill the need of that customer that wants his order tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think I like to repeat that probably online printing is one of the most difficult segment in e-commerce because if you ship, I don't know, shoes or if you ship automotive parts, you take them from a warehouse and you have to ship it. And
it's a shelf product, basically.
Yeah. And problems start when you start shipping them. But on online printing, before that, you need to manufacture them to comply with customers' requirements, with files, pre-press check, and so on. So you have a huge amount of potential problems. And then your parcel is quite heavy, heavier than other products. And you have to ship it often in a very short turnaround. So yes, you have accumulation of a lot of different problems. Yes, logistics today is strategic to provide the best customer service. And we also know that today, anytime a customer has a problem, it will put about a customer review. This customer review will be read by Google, will be read by potential customers, and they will say, okay, no, I'm not going to buy there because they don't have good reviews, or everyone is complaining about carriers. And even if it's not your carrier, it's not your company, it's your problem. Yes, logistics is key. And we see also a transition there between a former model of centralized manufacturers and warehouse in one country that was shipping orders all across Europe to maybe hybrid systems with this kind of factories plus local suppliers that are taking care of urgent orders or high quality orders and so on. And it's changing a bit the way the factories and fulfillment networks are built.
Yeah. So I guess the advice here would be if you're probably not able to fulfill the logistics standalone, which is huge. You have to have a huge park of lorries and vans, I suppose. Depends where your business is, but I guess the good advice here is to have a good partner on that logistics side.
Yeah,
exactly. Otherwise, you'll get a lot of negative reactions on delivery problems and so forth. So that's something absolutely worth looking into to get the right partners. But early in our conversation, we talked about also the global trade. It's not only Europe but global trade, and of course now we have to consider those tariffs. We won't go in too much into the details, but that 15% tariff for a lot of EU headquartered platforms. You have like Gelato, Cloud Printer, Printful, and others. What do you think about the framework agreements and the pressure to reallocate production?
Yeah, I think that's it's really a question for me. I'm not a finance guy, so it's complex to understand, but I'm questioning myself about, for example, global agreements between US companies that have subsidiaries in Europe, but negotiating contracts from the US with big print-on-demand platforms that are maybe fulfilling locally in Europe or in the US, but maybe will invoice directly to the US. Will they be impacted by these tariffs or not? My question is, I think that probably some of them will say, okay, for security reason and to avoid any problems, we are going to increase our number of suppliers inside US, or we will have factories directly in the US instead of importing from Canada or importing from Europe or other countries. So I think, yes, it will change a little bit the landscape, clearly.
Yeah. Do you think it could even print on demand platforms evolve into like some mini regional networks rather than to be kept within that global one? Because as we said, being a big group with all the automation and all the efficiencies drawn from that big group, if now they're going to be going back to regional mini networks or smaller networks, wouldn't that break up, let's say, the efficiency of a business?
Yeah, for sure, because these platforms were built on a seamless environment without barriers. So as they said, it was, I think, the founder of Cloud Printer that said, okay, now the jobs are flying across countries and we will manufacture locally. Okay, that's possible. But if today you have tariffs, you have new issues, and I guess more declarations to make with tax services, it's new barriers. So it's preventing from having this global structure. So yes, I think probably we will have smaller networks, regional networks. And one of my fear is to say that I think that it's a new era in terms of global agreements and global trade between countries. And probably what happened today from the US will happen tomorrow between European Union and China, I don't know, or European Union and other regions. And it will completely change the ecosystem. And on another side, it will probably incitate regions to make agreements between other, like what's happening today in the EU with Mercosur, but it may have drawbacks on some industries. And I fear that on printing industry, it may have real consequences for European printers. So yes, I think it's changing completely the economic landscape.
Yeah, yeah. As you said, like that protectionism, which it is in the end,
Yeah.
protectionism is reshaping economics, web to print economics, and others as well. So yeah, that's something companies, PSPs should be aware of course, and have to look into to make the right decisions. But yeah, maybe because we're coming to the end of our great and interesting talk here. But maybe some last advice for 2025 and beyond. If somebody would be in a startup, being startup, depending on which markets they would serve, what should they invest in? What should, to your opinion?
In the printing industry, I think that it's a good question.
It's a difficult one, but I
Yeah.
hear there are many that are thinking, should I go, to digital? Should I stay in, let's say, the digital environment, just online without any production, and go more in marketing, digital marketing? Or if somebody is going into printing, do you still see like opportunity for the classical printing production machines, or do you think you have to be more into the digital printing equipment?
I think that I really believe in print as a premium media. We all see these influencers on YouTube and so on that are making unboxing experience. And I really believe that print has two things that digital will never have. It's physical presence. So you have an object, you touch it, you feel it, you smell it. These are three things that digital will never have. So probably I think I will advise them to invest on building an experience between digital and printing, and probably luxury printing, or with embellishment and with things that are able to create a real effect, especially on younger generation that no longer know or are familiar with printing. So they discover again things that are really familiar for us, but that are completely new for them. And today, that's a real difference between what happened 10 or 20 years ago, when printing was mainstream and digital was really the innovation and was really something for early adopters and a kind of elite. When the first iPhone started, it was for elite people. Now, today, it's different. Digital is mainstream. And I think that printing has a capability to become something trendy, something exclusive, and to build a new relationship with your customers, your community. So I don't know how, but I really advise them to think about experience, building an experience through that.
Yeah, and of course, not forget about the AI approach as well, I guess, in their business models as well, of course. So one thing that you think printers underestimate today, and one that you think they should obsess over, what would that be? So the first one, what do you think that printers underestimate today? And which one do you think they should obsess over?
So underestimate, clearly, I think it's the revolution that is happening in e-commerce, in the way to search and buy products. That's something that the AI is clearly changing, and for long term, the way chatbots, even ChatGPT or Perplexity are about to launch their own browser embedding AI. So it will completely change the way you are browsing, making queries, and finding products. And for online printers, that's real issue because it's a question of audience, of visibility, and how to get customers. And what printers should focus on, it's as I said before, just get close to their customers, anticipate the way they will change their behaviors. It was the case when online printing started to grow, and today it's a case with this AI transformation, new way to place order through WhatsApps, through very different channels. Yes, yeah, they should focus on this and get closer to their customers to make sure that they are not missing something and not missing a trend.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, it's visibility, I think you're saying, and gaining trust of the customer, and being there where your customer is, being visible, be it through AI or be it through a website. I think that is, as you said, the most important thing. Well, Ludovic, thank you. Your insights, help us see that it isn't just a tech shift. It's a cultural reset as well in our industry. And we should all be aware of that. And to our viewers, the future isn't merely digital; it's also programmable, and of course, it's printable. So I think we all have to adapt and be aware of the change that is here and that is coming. So until next time, I'm Jacques Michiels. Thank you, Ludovic. And
thank you, Jacques.
This was Print Island. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye bye.
See you. Bye bye.